Hi, YouTube. I hope you're all doing good. I'm having a pretty good weekend so far, not too bad. A little bit sad. Um, like with my son, I love him and I'd like to see him, but I don't have the energy to deal with trauma and upsets that it always has since he's become an adult in my life. It's just too much. I was watching Tucker Carlson's full speech at the Heritage Foundation before he got uh ousted from Fox or whatever we want to call it, if he got fired or what. Um I don't see it so much that he got fired, that it's still not a part of what's going on, to sort of like shut the rest of us up from speaking our minds. But even with that, given a lot of the things he said, I'll share that speech. It says last address before leaving Fox. Um, he said a lot of things that I agree with, and I was surprised to hear that Tucker Carlson's father was raised in an orphanage and then went on to be a very well to do individual. And that brings to mind what Lionel Nation was speaking about, Marjorie Taylor Greene appearing to get down on the adoption community. Eh, That's probably the topic of my conversation today, I think. Just a minute here. Some of you know that I was adopted by Masons, and I do not approve of adoption. I think personally, if you can't have a child, maybe that's biology's way of saying, well, then you probably shouldn't or didn't need one. So don't go out and buy one, because you're probably not going to treat it like you would your own. Now, that's not saying that some of you didn't have poor parents, that I mean poor in spirit, that didn't raise you properly, but maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene has actually talked to people that have been adopted, and how we feel more comfortable and more loved around other people that were adoptees in orphanages and group homes. Um, I was more comfortable with my peers than I was with strangers. If anybody's out there advocating to put brand new babies in the homes of strangers without the state, I mean, they look at them one time, they evaluate the family, maybe, if you're lucky. They placed a child in that home. I was placed in one home, abused and brought back and put into another one. Try that on for size. No, I don't believe in adoption at all. And like, okay, you can say, well, what about step parents and stuff? It is still not the natural parent, and there's still something within that the child realizes and recognizes. And by promoting adoption in a big way, you're literally slapping maybe a death sentence and a life of servitude on a baby. Just stop it. You don't know what it's like. If you don't know what it's like to be adopted, you need to shut the hell up. Really, because you're causing more harm than you are good. Adoption is not a good thing. Period. Stop it. State run homes done the right way is the way to go. And any child that's been in both situations, or many other situations would be the ones that would be able to tell you that, not somebody that has never experienced it, you know. So just stop. And even a step parent with your natural parent, you have one or the other, you still have one, you know. So just stop with the adoptions. Glorious, like they're fucking heroes because they raised somebody else's baby, you know. It's just a push for the establishment. Okay, so you got anti abortion, so then we'll just slave this little bastard out to somebody that can afford the legal fees. Stop it, you know, really. So, so back to my natural child that was partially raised for like 2.5 years by a stepmother that was not his natural parent. That didn't go so good, did it, guys? So, anyway, um, loving somebody from a distance is a really hard thing to do. So, I'm kind of struggling. This morning, my son called here and Doug saw that it was him, but he didn't answer the phone. It's, well, the last thing I heard, was what he thought of me. So it's like, but I was shit last week and never will be anything but shit. But you call now? Yeah, okay, whatever. So, yeah. I mean, to me, I feel like this is my own personal thoughts on this, being that he probably wants to drink every day and Doug's sober. He doesn't want to be in a homeless shelter because you can't go in there at night when you're inebriated. So it isn't out of love that he would contact me. You know, maybe a slightly. I doubt it. Because just like with adoption, if I'm talking about homosexuals adopting children, um, that's a double whammy. And there again, I can explain to you my experience of what it was like to be raised by a dyke. You probably don't want to hear it, but I'm going to tell you it isn't very pleasant knowing that the person that is raising you has more masculine attitude towards life than the femininity of a nurturing female. Yeah, well, that's not a good thing to be around. Think what you will. I just said it. And once again, if you haven't lived through something like that, you really can't speak on it. So, just more of the evils of what the Eastern Star women will cover up on this planet and their demise and what they're trying to do to men out on this world, working along with the Masons to destroy women on this world. The women and children are the ones that are really being attacked. And unless you're a very strong minded man, you're not helping, you're not protecting them. So if you're more concerned and more worried about, I mean, yeah, worry about your boys out on this planet, but the women are in danger and the females are in danger of extinction. If they could do away with females, there wouldn't be any. That's where Satan's brain and his minions are at. You can think what you want, but this is the truth. You know, men don't dress up as a woman out of admiration for us. That is not what's going on. It's um, signaling like a sign, like a signal towards the people in the world, like we don't need women anymore. That's what's going on. Yeah. It is true. Everything I'm saying is true. It's a part of their agendas. You can read them, and people read these agendas like, oh, we're gonna demasculate men and unfeminize women, and this is our plan. This is how we're gonna go about it. And they're going about it and they're planning it, and you're just overlooking it, saying, and the breakdown of families, and it's like, oh, I love you. You're the same sex, and you just adopted a baby. Oh, you're my flippin' hero. You know, stop it. You know, you are doing a disservice to little people with all this rhetoric and buying into what's being said just because it's being said. You know, it's the truth. Everything I'm telling you is true. I'm not going on just my thoughts. I'm going on the thoughts of hundreds of other, if not more, adoptees and children that have been in care of other people that will tell you that it is unnatural. And we should be pushing more for the makeup of natural families and what constitutes life on this planet than something that doesn't. Can you stop it right there? Can we say period? What constitutes a family? Period. Not what we think does, not what society says, not what Satan wants to portray, the actual biological facts of what constitutes life on this planet. You know? So, yeah, stop glamorizing adoption. It's sickening, it's repulsive. Wow. Unbelievable that people would think that these people are glorious. You're out of your ever loving mind if you think that's true. Or to look at it like this: how would you have liked to adopted me? There's one for you to think about next time you think that that's okay. Now that makes me laugh. Yeah, we'll pick this one. She looks strong. Ah, you seen God in her eyes, didn't you? You know? Yeah, they saw something. Yeah. Actually, my dad was the Jesuit Mason, and he's the one that picked me. My mom picked her son so she could turn him into a woman, and my dad picked me. And he was going to name me Wilma after his middle name, William, but or Bonnie. But yeah. So they didn't know what to call me, except for trouble. And here I am, doing my troubling and saying my troubling things. I hope I distress somebody with your views on adoption. I hope you're very distressed with the facts. Even an adopted child wanted to see their biological parents together. Guess what? It's the most natural feeling in the world. And if anybody says different, they are lying. There are circumstances where a parent dies, or a step parent will step in, or adopted parents will be super incredible. Those are rare, but it happens. But it's rare, you know. True is very true. It's like, for instance, if you were a teacher and you love to teach children, and you really do, and that's your job, but you have to really ask yourself, would you want to take them all home? You know, do we love our fellow human beings so much that we would take any one of them right now, today, in our house as our own? Better be careful what you're thinking and what you're pushing for, because I'm telling you, it's unnatural. You know, you could say, well, Moses was adopted and he was floating down the river in a bunch of weeds, and a queen found him and raised him as her own. And yeah, Moses murdered someone and had to run out of the country he was living in. And him and his people were in the wilderness for 40 years and met Satan in the desert because of their ways. So, how's that for the moral of that story? His adoption didn't go too good, did it? Well, that's kind of just putting it briefly of what the actual story, but that is the story. You know, maybe the moral is, be careful what you read. No, little joke there if you got it. Be careful what floats your boat. Be careful if you're following Moses. Because he broke the tablets. I mean, yeah, he come down from the mountain and he had the 10 commandments for everybody, but when he saw what everybody was doing, he broke them on a rock. He's like, you people. So even somebody that had murdered could look at society and say, wow, this is bad, you know. But anyway. So anyway, good for Marjorie Taylor Greene. She just didn't address somebody that was an adopted parent and not a biological mother, but she adopted a gay adopted parent and addressed the woman as not being a biological parent. And to me, that speaks volumes for standing up for natural families